Last night when I went to bed, I had it in my mind that I was going to get you to have a bit of think about a letter that you might want to write. And I woke up this morning, I thought it's a bit unfair. You don't really have enough time to think it through. So I've stepped back from there this morning. However, for next week, you can write it. I'm not looking for a big letter, okay? Can be quite a short one. A note might be a better way of putting it if you want. Have a bit of think through the week about the topic that we're going to look at here this morning. I think, what kind of note could I write to someone to encourage them? If you can do that through the week, bring that. That's cool. We might just make time next week to actually do that here. We've been thinking about Jubilee, about sons and daughters who have been lost and them coming back. And this morning, what I'd like to do is just talk about actually letting people go. The young son comes to the father and says, give me my inheritance now. I want to go and do my own thing. And the father lets him. And I just want to talk a wee bit about actually being prepared just to let people go. So this is letting people go, part 1. Part 2 next week. Tune in. Things are not always what they seem, are they? They're not always how they appear. They're not always how you hear them. Okay? See, we look at the Bible and we take it as being a source of learning. We take it as being the place that we go to work out what God's saying and what He does in certain situations. And I've asked before, for words that you would use to describe the lost son. And I don't want to go over that again, but you'll remember maybe that we didn't always have the most positive words for the son. And I was kind of thinking about that, and I was thinking, why is that? Why is that? And see, I think it's a bit like Chinese whispers. When we actually get into the story, dun, dun, dun. See, I've forgotten my glasses today, which is just bad news. Bad news. We get down into the end of the story, and we begin to see that there's the older son and what he's thinking and what he's saying. So by verse 25, he says, meanwhile, the older son was in the field. The older son has been in the field. He's been working all day. And when he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what's going on. And the servant responds, your brother has come. He replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. Now, I suggest to you that the older brother kind of, although he's working in the field, this will be a community. And I'm sure the word's gone out, the brother's back. The older brother became angry, refused to go in. And so his father went out, pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you, never disobeyed your orders. You never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. Now, I find it interesting that the older brother would say to the father, my wee brother went away to another land, squandered all your money, and did so with prostitutes. Says who? Says who? Because the younger son, when he gets home and he's speaking to his dad, he hardly gets to say all that he's planned to say before the dad steps in and says, it's all right. You're home. I accept you. So somewhere in the story, the older brother has started to either misinterpret what he's been told, or he's just making stuff up. Making the younger son look even worse than maybe he was. But see, the point is, for us, we read the story, and we can start to associate those people who leave, who depart. We can see them in the same kind of negative light. And maybe there's no good reason to do so. See, the father has already welcomed the son in, taken him back. The father has restored him to that place of authority within the household, given back to him all that he lost when he walked away. And yet, there's no denying he squanders the inheritance that he was given. We're not denying that. But in the midst of that, the father's still prepared to say, it's okay, I accept you back. The father was prepared to let the son go. He knew that the son wasn't going to be happy just kind of kicking around, staying, doing the same old, same old. He recognized the son had to go explore the world, and the father trusted and hoped that the son would come back. And there were no guarantees that the son would come back. But he recognized he had to let him go. The father recognized the son as a person of worth, with ambitions and dreams and hopes and expectations, and let him go. And having explored, and having been hurt, and having been starving, and he came back, I dare say, in the rags, probably the only thing he owned. But the father was still there. The father had a heart of compassion. He could see that the son had squandered it all, and it was gone. But he still loved him enough to bring him back. And see, sometimes people need to leave situations to find God. Sometimes they need to leave a family environment. Sometimes they need to leave a church to actually find God. Do you remember kind of way back at the start, we spoke about, it's possible just to squeeze the life out of somebody because you want them to conform to how you think it should be. And there are situations where people feel that's how it is. The life is being squeezed out of me. And I would suggest to you that in those situations, it's okay just to say, I'm going to leave, I'm going to go somewhere else. We don't like people to leave. We take it quite personally sometimes. It's a reflection of ourselves, what we've done. I kind of think maybe the older brother was a wee bit like that. There's a story of a young man who, he was just, he left home. And he was just getting in with the wrong crowd. And his reputation started to go before him, really. He associated with all the people that his parents, just his family, just wouldn't have wanted to have him associate with. You know, he would go out at night and wouldn't come back. You know, the home was a loving enough home. He would just disappear for days on end, and not necessarily come back and do maybe the things that they expected him to do, to help around the house and so on and so forth. They kind of looked and they asked themselves, why is he not worshipping with us anymore? Why is he not coming with us and worshipping? Look at the people. And they started to think maybe that he was part of a cult. And so that the family gets together and they devise this plan whereby they will abduct him for his own good. We'll bring him back. And so they make their plan. They get to hear where he is. And off they go. Any of this sounding familiar at all? And Jesus' mother and brothers arrived. Standing outside, they sent someone in to call him. A crowd was sitting around him, and they told him, "Your mother and brothers are outside looking for you." And his response, Jesus' response is, "Who are my mother, my brothers?" he asked. And the first time I kind of heard that story, I was like, really? Wow. For real? But if you think about it, Jesus recognized that the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the religious leaders of his day, they were squeezing the life out of people and not allowing them the relationship with God, not allowing them the relationship with the Father that they wanted, that they needed. And so he stepped outside what was accepted as being the norm. As I say, we don't like to see people leave. Sometimes it needs to happen. And as I've said, we can take it very personally on occasions. We become quite hurt, maybe a little angry on occasions, that people would dare to leave. And I think we need to kind of change the way sometimes that we think as individuals, and maybe as the wider church. And we don't want to be like the older brother that's kind of listening to the Chinese whispers, just getting the story so far wrong. We actually want to be like the Father. And in this instance, in part one of this, just release people. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's someone that you can think of from church that you've known, and they've gone. They're doing their own thing. Sometimes we just need to release them. It's an incredibly, incredibly difficult thing to do. It absolutely is. Because it seems to go against the grain. It goes against the world's idea of what is positive and good. I came across this a prayer. It's not dissimilar to the story of Jesus breaking out and moving into other circles. So it's the story of a family whose son gets into drug addiction, and all that goes on there. He's in with the wrong crowd. He goes out at night. They're never sure whether he's coming back. When he does come back, they're not sure just quite how much in the way of drugs he's had. They're unsure of whether in the morning this guy's actually going to be alive, whether he's going to waken up or not. And very, very difficult, traumatic point in the family's lives. And they just, they came to a bit where they said, we've had enough. We've had enough. Please, just, we release you. Go. And this was their prayer. Jesus, he is yours. And this is how they've written it. There are no names in here. To be honest, there doesn't need to be any names, because it could be anybody that you're thinking about. Jesus, he is yours. First and foremost, they are yours. We so wanted them as our own. We so wanted them to grow and to find the destiny you had for them. We relinquish our rights to them. They are yours, first and foremost. Thank you for the days that you have given them to us to enjoy. Thank you for letting us hear their first gasp of breath. And thank you for the incredible privilege of co-creating with you in a new life. And even now, their life was not lived in vain. We are able to see just a little more of your sunshine and joy through their birth. Thank you for allowing us to love them. Thank you for teaching us to dream dreams that go further than just ourselves. Thank you for the incredible miracle of seeing new life. But first and foremost, they are yours. Amen. A parting of the ways does not need to be as negative sometimes as we might think. From next week, maybe if you get a moment through the week, you could sit and you could think about maybe someone who has left. And we don't need names, yeah, but maybe you could just put down some words in a wee note, maybe a prayer or a letter, and just find some really positive words to let the person know that actually they're accepted. For all that they've done wrong, for all the mistakes that they've made, for all that they've hurt you, you're loved. We cherish you. We recognize you have a place with us. It's not the easiest thing to do, I have to tell you. I've kind of done it once in my life. And so after I had read a book, very powerful book, and I was aware of those who had moved away from me. It had been really quite difficult. At that point, it wasn't a great deal better. The person needed to know I still loved them, I still cared for them. And having written it and given it, in large part it was then up to them. But within myself, I really felt quite released. I didn't carry a whole load of the stuff that I had been doing. Some of the kind of bitterness, maybe. It helped me to focus, and maybe it would help you as well. So, if you get a wee chance through the week, Just think it through, and if you can put something to paper, that'd be really cool. That would be great. If you can come and share it, even better. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe between us, we could write something that we could actually put onto our internet page, just as a way of kind of letting the community know, for those that might go in and have a look, that no matter how far they've gone, no matter what they've done, that they're welcome. We're so sanitised in church. We're so clean in church. We are. And the lost son coming home, that's church. Church sometimes should be messy. It should sometimes not always go quite the way that we think it should. I think there's a reality in that. And, my heart's desire, I'm sure yours as well, is that those people in our community that are feeling lost would know that they're welcome back here. Yeah. Okay, so I've spoken enough. Can we do a wee song? That'd be cool. Thank you very much. And I think if there's a lesson in the whole thing here, maybe over and above anything else that I've said, is that I need to pick easier sentences for Chinese whispers.